Matt Reeves' 2022 film, The Batman, is much more than just another comic book hero action flick. It is a neo-noir crime and mystery thriller that happens to make effective use of the Batman's mythos to tell a masterful story about corruption and vengeance, with a glimmer of hope at the end. It shows the persistence of noir in today's films as it exudes many elements of classical film noir, from its narrative to its atmosphere, though it does so in a modern way that complements the iconic comic book hero and his origins, all while subverting some stereotypes of noir. There's a lot to say about this film as a neo-noir, so let's break it down. Full spoilers ahead for The Batman. A noir-style Batman film is just too perfect of an idea that it's hard to believe we've only gotten one out of the many over the decades. After all, Batman is first and foremost a detective, as he originates in Detective Comics from 1939. And this film totally plays into that aspect of his character. Batman is also the perfect textbook noir protagonist. He is cynical, especially of his crime-ridden city, Gotham. He is morally ambiguous and operating outside of the law, while still maintaining somewhat of a relationship with the police and following only his own moral code that prohibits him from killing. Having witnessed the murder of his parents as a child, he is also largely motivated by his past trauma, which turns him into the fatalistic bringer of vengeance who struggles with the past. And really, he is a detached and alienated loner, especially in Robert Pattinson's portrayal of him. He is the hard-boiled detective of this neo-noir film, except his trench coat and fedora are a cape and a cowl. I'm going to break down the Batman's heavily noir-inspired narrative conventions and characters, but I first want to make note of this film's beautiful use of shadows, chiaroscuro lighting, and framing, all of which are staples of classic film noir that you will see throughout this presentation. Like many great classic film noir, such as Double Indemnity, Detour, and Out of the Past, the Batman makes great use of voiceover narration from the protagonist, Batman himself, in both the opening and closing sequences. This acts as a narrative bookend that helps audiences better understand and empathize with him and the growth of his otherwise reserved mindset and motivations. Batman's narration in the film's first 20 minutes is quite fatalistic, echoing Giddy's sentiments about Chinatown.
I wish I could say I'm making a difference, but I don't know. Something in the way. Murder, robberies, assault. 2 years later, they're all up. And now this. The city's eating itself. Maybe it's beyond saving, but I have to try. Push myself.
However, his closing narration subverts the typical fatalistic ending of most noir. Yes, Batman technically fails to save the day and solve the mystery in time, but in doing so, he ultimately works through his past familial trauma and gains a new sense of purpose and identity as a beacon of hope for the people of Gotham, not just vengeance.
I'm starting to see now. I have had an effect here, but not the one I intended. Vengeance won't change the past, mine or anyone else's. I have to become more. People need hope, to know someone's out there for them.
It is also worth noting that his introspective narration comes from his journal entries, and they act as somewhat of a narrative flashback, similar to that of films like Double Indemnity, Out of the Past, and Detour. The film also leans into his two personas, the Batman and Bruce Wayne, which is a common trope in film noir, as seen in Double Indemnity when the salesman Walter Neff transforms into a murderer and assumes the identity of Phyllis's husband, and Phyllis herself, the duplicitous femme fatale who performs the role of the innocent and bored wife. Both characters let the darkness within them consume themselves. Similarly, the fatalistic Batman persona is used as a tool of vengeance, fear, and getting the dirty vigilante work done. It is the darkness and trauma within him that has consumed him, so much so that it becomes his real self. Ironically, Bruce Wayne, on the other hand, is his mask. When performing as Wayne, he is clearly uncomfortable and is a quiet and awkward recluse, rarely making public appearances as Gotham City's billionaire orphan. Subverting the noir trope, however, he starts using this positive persona as a healthier tool to meet his goals once he realizes the unique social power he has when performing as Bruce Wayne. because vengeance isn't always the right answer. The film's femme fatale character can be found in Zoe Kravitz's portrayal of Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman. In typical noir fashion, she first comes off as duplicitous and has multiple performing personas, yet her and Batman work together to advance their own goals that just so happen to align with each other's. And of course, it wouldn't be a noir if the femme fatale and protagonist didn't have a bit of a romance thing going on. Selina and Batman are both allured to each other, though she is not a mere object of lust and Batman is too emotionally guarded and conflicted for anything serious. So they only share a kiss and part ways in the film's bittersweet end. Like Phyllis in Double Indemnity and Evelyn Mulray in Chinatown, Selina pulls our protagonist Batman deeper into the film's plot of the criminal underworld and its web of corruption and lies. Her character's story also culminates in a reveal similar to Evelyn's in Chinatown, as it is revealed that her father is the big-time crime boss Carmine Falcone, who raped and murdered her mother. However, unlike Evelyn and most femme fatale, Selina doesn't trick Batman and therefore doesn't die or suffer in the end. In fact, she ultimately gets what she desires, but not by her own means and at the cost of such a sick revelation. To close off, I'd like to note how the Batman also shares DNA with Chinatown and Blade Runner as an eco-noir, each with plots revolving around environmental crises and urban decay. In Chinatown, it's the corruption behind LA's water supply and the crime-ridden Chinatown itself. In Blade Runner, it's the bleak and dystopian corporate-run LA that's soaked in perpetual rain as populations migrate to off-world colonies. And in The Batman, it's the decrepit city of Gotham, which is also crime-ridden and also perpetually soaked in rain. Not to mention Gotham's promised renewal fund for the city, which of course is central to the film's unfolding mystery as it is revealed to be a money laundering scheme for the corrupt elites and officials, including Bruce's father, Thomas Wayne, further complicating his past trauma that he must work through. And that's what makes The Batman a prime example of the persistence of noir in modern cinema. Thanks for tuning in.